Hey, it's me, Neve. I know I might seem like a retard who probably shouldn't have gotten into this again, but my fondness for Nintendo goes a long way. Just like I wish my penis did, but that's another story for another day. Anyway, I recently dug myself out of a deep, dark hole known as depression. Ever since I played that damn NES game, my house burned down, causing me to move into an apartment complex. My girlfriend had cheated on me and left me, not like she loved me anyway. I also got IP banned from Reddit for expressing my dislike for the newest season of Rick and Morty, saying it's not as good as the other seasons. So yeah, my life was a wreck. To top it all off, the power had went out recently as well. It was reported by some people who were also at the apartment complex that they suspect that it was two delinquents in the area, one wearing a cowboy hat and the other wearing a space helmet. Halloween was around the corner, and I assumed it was the new way to prank people that these kids came up with. So during that entire month of madness, I decided to change up my lifestyle and go outside for once. I was bored after 5 minutes and decided to go back home. Before I entered my apartment, I was stopped by a neighbor of mine. He looked like he was shaking a lot and stuttered a few times. He was there to give me a weird-looking Spider-Man comic book. I went into my house only to throw away the comic book. I don't read comic books, I play games. I am a true gamer. Gamers rise up. I went into what I guess you would call the living room. I haven't gotten used to the place yet. I had found a SNES, bless you, plugged into my TV. I suspected it was that weird comic book guy who broke into my house, but at this point I had bigger problems to worry about. There was a game already put into the console as well. I picked it up to see what the game was called. The SNES Remastered. I was shocked and confused at the same time. I was contemplating on whether or not to play the game for what seemed like a good hour before I made up my mind. I decided to throw it away and go to bed. In the middle of the night, I woke up to a disturbance going on in my house. I swear to all of us, that comic book guy again, I thought. It turns out everything was still intact, except for the fact that there was a giant dick drawn on the wall. A perfectly drawn dick in high detail was drawn with chalk. I got some flashbacks, some very vague flashbacks, but I've taken so much drugs in the past that I don't remember my name half the time. But I was impressed, but I was also more confused as I don't remember drawing one on that wall from the other night when I had gotten high. I looked at the TV screen to see that the SNES Remaster was on the title screen. I said, "What the hell?" and played the game since I was bored. I pressed start to be greeted with a text box that said, "Day 1." I was greeted with a sprite that looked oddly familiar. The character was in a town, presumably, as I kept walking down a street. It cut to a cut screen that involved the character carrying a boombox to the front yard of a house. The person who lived in the house looked out the window to see the character I was playing, and it was dancing to a 16-bit version of the Super Mario Super Show theme. I chuckled a bit until I saw that the person in the house, who happened to be a girl by the way, called the police. Also, her black boyfriend came out and kicked the character's ass. When the police arrived, the character had pulled out a bomb. I was shocked to hear a 16-bit version of ISIS-sounding music. There was text that said, "If I can't have my girlfriend back, I'll see you all in hell." Everyone blew up in the neighborhood. In fact, the explosion was so big it blew up everything, including my SNES, which had caused a fire in my apartment. I called 911, and when the police arrived, they burst through my door and shot me 5 times. I woke up in a hospital where my sight was blurry for a few seconds. I could hear the doctor talking to me. He had a thick Texas accent, like Tom Hanks doing a cowboy impression. "Are you okay, Neve? Looks like you're in quite a pickle." I lifted myself up from the bed to see that next to me on a table was a walking and talking Woody the Cowboy from Toy Story dressed as a doctor.
Time to go digital, bitch.
Woody had pulled the plug on my life support and plugged it into an SNES. The game from earlier was being played as I was being taken over as the character in the game. What was weird was that everything looked like it would be in real life. I wasn't able to take control of my body as I was walking down the street. I walked and I walked and I walked some more. I kept on walking. I walked some more only to eventually keep walking. Man, what a boring ass game. I eventually approached a house that looked like my girlfriend who broke up with me from a month ago. There was a boombox that I pressed play on, and it played the Super Mario Super Show theme song. Uncontrollably, I danced and did the Mario. I swung my arms from side to side and took one step, then back again. My girlfriend, or should I say my ex, had threatened to call the cops on me if I didn't leave her property. LaShawn had eventually come out with a gun pointed sideways. "Hey, yo, leave us alone, I'll bust a cap in your ass." Unlike last time, I tackled LaShawn and took the gun from him. I had shot him with his own gun. I was shocked to see what I did, but I remembered that Woody was probably making me go through with these actions. I had to make a run for it. I stole a car and was on my way out of town. I saw that the police were tailing me as well. I was driving as fast as I could before driving through the front door of a hospital. I fell out of the car, hurt. I jumped up and decided to run up the stairs. I kept running and running and running some more, just like I was walking at the beginning of this fucked up game. I got tired and decided to stop at a hospital door where I passed out and fell flat on my chest. There was a game over screen. Then the TV shut off. I woke up on the floor of the hospital to see a half-open door. I later moved on to the hospital door and saw what looked like Woody, who was trying to figure out how to plug in the Super Nintendo. I laughed at his situation when he turned around and got mad. He then grew spider legs and his eyes turned slivered like almonds. He jumped at me, only to slip and slide into the room across and hop out the window. I looked out to see a weird guy in a Spider-Man costume. The man had the same body shape as the guy who gave me that Spider-Man comic. Speaking of Spider-Man comics, he threw it at me through the window, winked, and proceeded to crush and step on the Woody Spider hybrid and kill him off for good. I picked up the comic book and read the title, and it said, "Spider-Man: Homecoming. To be continued."